Nothing compares to the ice storm of '98.
Trees are still falling down around us.
Worst natural disaster in the history of the state of Maine.
Up close to the ice storm's devastation.
Multiple trees coming down either way, either side of the road.
There's no manual for this, but when it was over, I was so proud of the way Maine reacted.
Everybody kind of helped everybody else. You know, it was Mainers helping Mainers.
From Maine's total weather, this is Chronicle, the ice storm of '98, 20 years later.
It's been 20 years since the great ice storm of '98 formed. It started quietly, but soon became dangerous.
Hundreds of thousands of Mainers in neighborhoods just like this went without power for days, even weeks, in the dead of winter. Children unable to go to school.
But through it all, neighbors helped their neighbors. Crews worked brutal hours just to return life back to normal.
Tonight, we look at what made the ice storm so extraordinary. Welcome to a special presentation of Chronicle, the ice storm of '98, 20 years later.
I would like to request at this moment the declaration of a disaster area for the next level, which is individual federal aid for homeowners and individuals. Approved.
The crews faced an overwhelming challenge with residents in the dark and the cold for days. But Mainers did what they do best. They helped each other. Here's Steve Minnick.
That's what it's all about. That's how we're going to get through this thing.
Hi. Fine, thank you. How are you? So you still have the same sweater from the ice storm?
I still have the same sweater, only there's a moth hole right in the middle. See it? Look at that.
That old moth-eaten sweater which Angus King wore for nearly 1 week straight. It's one of his fonder memories from by far his most challenging but also proudest moments as governor.
It was certainly one of the toughest things I had to deal with, but when it was over, I was so proud of the way Maine reacted, particularly neighbor to neighbor.
Got to get the roads open if we ever want power again.
Everybody kind of helped everybody else.
Darla Ayer is one of those neighbors. Her home in Lisbon without power for days. And while she remembers the hardships, it's the friendships the ice storm spawned that still resonate 2 decades later.
People walking across the street with their generators to get everybody's freezers or refrigerators going. You know, run it for a couple of hours, bring it to the next guy, run it for a couple of hours. There was all sorts of Mainers helping Mainers.
You look busy.
I am busy. Pizza for lunch, soup for lunch, anything else they want, we've got it.
In those frigid days following the storm, Mainers made sure their fellow Mainers would make it.
They're feeding everybody, and they had a nice bunch of ladies.
This was a common sight. Restaurants and other facilities lucky enough to have power opening their doors to anyone in need of a hot meal.
I don't have power at home, so I might as well be here. That's the way I look at it.
Whatever resource they were able to pull together, I think everybody tried to help the best they can.
Brad Pollard kept his Cole's restaurant in Gray open 24 hours a day. A warm refuge for his staff and customers. He offered showers and sleeping space, and with plenty of food on hand, did what he could to make sure nobody in the area went hungry.
Some of it helped delivering food where they couldn't get out. A lot of elderly were really in bad shape as far as trying to prepare a meal, and they didn't have any way to get out or to even prepare it.
Not only were they down, they looked like they'd been just exploded.
Oh my God.
For weeks, Maine was a mess. Traveling the state, visiting countless neighborhoods with so many so desperate to get their power back. King says he couldn't believe the spirit, the character.
We'll get you back home. I hope tomorrow.
I hope
tomorrow, okay? All right. Good night. Can I give you a kiss?
I remember hearing stories from linemen who had come from New Jersey or North Carolina or someplace saying that, if I was at home, people would be coming out yelling at me, saying, when am I going to get
And here they were bringing coffee and donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
During quite literally Maine's darkest hours, Mainers shined. You wonder exactly how we survived that devastating ice storm of '98? Just look to your neighbors.
It was good for the older people. They knew somebody was watching out for them and, you know, didn't forget about them.
It was a great moment in a way.
The ice brought down limbs and power lines, each part of the state dealing with its own disaster. For crews, they had to go into overdrive. Their task, restore power while being mindful of the danger above. Pops, cracks, snaps, explosions and shattered glass. Sounds heard around Maine 20 years ago. But imagine working right in it, surrounded by it.
You know, at night you're nervous, you're scared, because you know the tree limbs are coming down. Hopefully they're not coming down near you. You know, it came to a point where you just had to park the truck and stay out of the way for a while.
20 years later, the sounds are just as clear to CMP first-class line workers Tony Martin and Jim Wright. Both men say they have never seen a storm as bad as the ice storm. The cold, the ice, the frustrations.
We just kept getting iced day after day after day, and I'd never seen so much ice build up.
They had to use hammers to crack through 4 inches of ice. Many of the wires needed to be replaced.
But during the ice storm, we needed hundreds of pairs of ice creepers so folks could walk safely.
They found themselves working on the same lines they had replaced just days earlier as the ice began to melt. Kevin Elwell was a service manager back then.
I was in Bridgeton, and Bridgeton at the time had 97% of the customers without power. And for the first 3 days or so, our focus was keeping the local hospital on.
That's when Central Maine power leaders knew the enormity of the storm's destruction.
It was a long 2.5 weeks for everybody.
As people waited for these line workers to return life back to normal, the line workers spent nearly a month away from home.
You're here working for hours and hours and hours, and you might get home for 6 hours rest, 4 hours rest, whatever it might be, you know, and your house doesn't have power. So you either make sure the wood stove's going or the house is warm or whatever you need to do to make sure your family's safe too.
It was tough. You're worrying about your co-workers, you're trying to get rest, but still you're worrying about your family at home.
They say most Mainers understood what they were up against.
We'd be working, and if we were on the road too long, they'd actually come down and check on us and say, hey, we hadn't seen you in a while, we wanted to check, and they'd bring us down coffee. People would make breads and cookies.
CMP leaders changed their plan of attack for future ice storms by getting to work before the storms hit.
We now have a 5-year trim cycle, so every 5 years we trim our distribution trees. So it's a cycle. 20% of the trees get trimmed every year on our distribution. We do the same thing on our transmission every 4 years.
There is definitely a sense of pride for those who worked through the storm, building camaraderie as they helped get life back to normal.
Teamwork. We really came together as not only a utility, but also as a state.
With Mainers in the dark and emergency crews in the field, it became the job of the local media to keep people informed about the recovery effort.
Say if a generator at a shelter runs out of fuel and none of the pumps in the area work, they can fill a tanker like this up and take it anywhere.
Tamara Hartley and her fiance, Craig Smith.
Of course, we all knew the assignment was going to be the ice storm.
More than 200 people spending the night in this shelter.
And the big problem for them is contacting each other. Too much to handle for Central Maine Power Company crews.
Because it was so widespread. The ice was so caked onto the trees that it was just, everything was drooped. It actually didn't look real. It looked like we were on another planet, actually, or in the twilight zone. It just looked different. So strange, because the ice was weighing down those trees and the branches and the tree limbs. And one of my memories was with one of the photographers here. We were going down a camp road to check on his house, and the trees were so drooped. It was like going through a car wash.
Jim, what's happening where you are right now?
Well, basically, Janine, 150 people are calling this place home.
We lived in the field, basically doing live shots, and I was camped outside Central Maine Power Company, standing there ready to do a live shot. You'd start to hear the crackling and the buckling and the snapping, and occasionally a limb would give way and come crashing down, and one happened right behind us. It was far enough away we weren't in danger, but we were always looking up.
The trees are nice with ice on them, but they're dangerous also. People don't realize when they walk down there goes one right on the truck.
Just don't get underneath anything!
And I heard a crack, and right as I looked up, that part of the tree was coming down at me, so I dove out of the way. I never screamed so loud in my life.
What do you plan to do to kill the time?
So we go into these shelters. It's 2 days into the storm. A 91-year-old woman by the name of Mary Wielden.
She arrived yesterday afternoon.
Actually, it was her 91st birthday that day. And I said, what brings you here?
No heat.
That'll do it.
No TV, that'll do it.
So she wanted to see us and the reports, but she wanted to stay warm, obviously.
Life at the shelter is getting old.
In the years since, we have done warming shelters and things, but nothing compares to the ice storm of '98, because there were older people, there were families with children, and you'd see people playing cards, and you know, some people actually enjoyed it, saying, you know, we got to see our neighbor and get to know them better because we were sitting around playing cards in the shelter. Obviously, that's not the best of circumstances to be in a shelter, sleeping on cots and whatever, but people did it. We spent a lot of time on the road, obviously, but we found a lot of people didn't go to the shelter. They, you know, Hardy Maynard said, I'm staying home. I've got a generator, I've got a grill. We saw people cooking outside, and we stumbled into one guy who had some sort of contraption. It wasn't a grill, I don't even know what it was, warming something up. And he actually
stick it out at home,
went underneath some down wires to come talk to us, which obviously wasn't a good idea.
They're cooking!
And told us what was on the menu that night.
I mean, here we are, can't flush the toilets, we're cooking beans.
I wouldn't call it the worst storm, I would call it the longest storm. This was weeks, and every day we knew we were covering the ice storm.
For the next 48 hours, it would rain, with temperatures below freezing. 2 inches of rain would mean 2 inches of ice.
Each hour I was taking weather observations, I was recording unusual warmth at the summit of Mount Washington.
Take a look at this twig here and take a look at the amount of ice that's accumulated on it, just over an inch. That is a lot of ice, that is a lot of weight to bear.
The sound of breaking branches was just a continuous sound. And you could hear it like a giant striding through the forest, just crunch, 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 crunch.
As ice starts to glaze on trees and power lines, it doesn't look like it weighs that much, but don't be fooled, it does. Get this, 1 inch of ice thickness per 1 foot weighs 7 pounds. So let's take a smaller amount of ice. A 1/4 inch of ice is over 1.5 pounds a foot. A 1/2 inch of ice is 3.5 pounds a foot. So let's put that on power lines. Over 300 feet spanning across. That means that's an added 1,050 pounds of ice.
Simply put, the ice storm of '98 was a classic battle between 2 distinct air masses colliding overhead here over northern New England.
Colder air to the north and warmer air to the south, headed right toward us. The ice storm of '98 began to form as bitter cold Arctic air from Canada started creeping toward northern New England, something pretty common for early January. At the same time, the jet stream to our south was pumping in warm air all the way from the Gulf of Mexico, thanks to an El Niño winter.
Maybe the eastern region.
As John Jensenius from the National Weather Service in Gray remembers, the table was now set for an epic ice storm.
So at that point, we were trying to alert Maine Emergency Management Agency and the county directors that we saw a very significant ice storm on the way.
At the start, the rain was intermittent, and the ice was light, mostly over central Maine. But on the 3rd day, things took a turn for the worse. The Arctic high to our north creeped even closer, providing a constant flow of cold air. Meanwhile, a strong storm had formed in the Gulf of Mexico and began to ride that powerful jet stream right into Maine, bringing with it warm air and plenty of moisture. For the next 48 hours, it would rain, with temperatures below freezing. 2 inches of rain would mean 2 inches of ice.
It was just literally amazement looking around and seeing all the ice on everything. Even single blades of grass with 2 inches of ice on it was just an amazing sight.
Central and interior southern Maine, which had already had a layer of ice from the first 2 days, was the hardest hit. Trees fell under the weight of the ice. Power lines collapsed and roads were impassable. For those who had to travel, just getting to work was dangerous.
Because there were a lot of trees that were either across the road or partially across the road. So it was very treacherous, and of course, you were kind of looking up because there were still trees falling at the time.
The rain finally tapered off on Friday, and when the sun returned on Saturday, temperatures warmed above freezing.
And when the sun came out, everything was sparkling.
But surprisingly, the warmer temperatures made things even worse. Ice began to fall from branches, and trees and radio towers, which had been supported by the ice, collapsed as well.
The weight didn't disappear, and we started seeing towers fall. We started seeing trees come down. We started seeing more branches come down. And more than anything, it became very dangerous because people thought they could get out, and we had an awful lot of falling debris at the time.
This truly was a great example of how two weather systems can meet overhead, but what made it so unique is that there was warmer air above us and colder air here at the surface.
And I was working on the summit of Mount Washington that winter, and so I really got to experience this firsthand, and it was extraordinary. It was a different story from where I was. In fact, each hour I was taking weather observations, I was recording unusual warmth at the summit of Mount Washington. This setup of record warmth, where I was stationed at above 6,000 feet, and the icing going on below, helps us break down the anatomy of a freezing rain event. When snowflakes fell from the cold air above and hit the layer of warm air that had taken hold, the snow melted. The shallow layer of cold air sitting below the 3,000-foot mark was not thick enough to allow time for the rain to freeze into a ball of ice. That ball of ice is known as sleet, and you can distinguish it by the pelting sound it makes when it falls. Instead, the rain hit trees, power lines, any object that was sitting in the cold air. Hours, days of glaze ice accumulated. So the usual icy summit of Mount Washington was getting a break from the icing for a change, but that didn't mean we were unaffected. So many trees came down across our path down from the summit. It took days to clear the debris, and our staff finally hiked down the mountain 2 days later than usual. It was the first chance we had to lay eyes on the icing, taking in the sights step by step.
It's only a matter of time before another ice storm hits. Coming up, see what you can do to prepare your family for the next one. Critical if you break down or become stranded.
Real pretty out here with all that. The ice hanging on the trees and stuff, but at the same time, it's scary.
Bill Barker has a unique way of keeping track of his wife Phyllis when she goes out for walks these days.
I could tell where she was. I could hear her bouncing off in the high-dive.
How many of these big trees you brought down?
Stop counting after 100 or so.
I describe this as bad, real bad. I've been around 59 years in Maine, and I've never seen it this bad.
A lot of folks think that the ice storm in '98 was a once-in-a-lifetime event, but the reality is it will happen again. Now, whether it's an ice storm or any other weather disaster, the secret to getting through it is to be prepared.
Yeah, real pretty out here with all that. The ice hanging on the trees and stuff.
Being at home is the safest place to ride out a storm, but there can be challenges and dangers when keeping you and your family warm and safe. Many folks rely on a portable generator when the power goes out. Used outside and away from the house, they can provide electricity for radios, lights, recharging phones, and even running a refrigerator. Fireplaces and wood stoves are useful, but be sure to have a supply of wood on hand all winter long. Any portable lanterns must be battery powered, never the gas ones. And candles are so dangerous they should be avoided entirely. Use a headlamp or flashlight instead. In the kitchen, perishable food should be eaten first when the power is out. Frozen foods are next, while saving dry foods for last.
Now, if you must travel, it's important to be safe. And just a few basic essentials are critical if you break down or become stranded.
Always bring warm clothes for everyone in the vehicle. That means gloves, hats, warm boots, and jackets. Dress as if you were out for a walk, not a drive. Throw an old blanket in the trunk. It can be a lifesaver when the temperature plummets. Always have a shovel, flashlight, and a first aid kit. Bring your cell phone and make sure it's fully charged. Finally, keep your gas tank filled during the winter months. Running out of gas in a storm can make a bad situation much worse.
The ice storm of '98 was the greatest weather event for a generation of Mainers.
For some, it lasted just hours, but for most, it lasted days, even weeks. And through it all, we found a way to stick it out, with neighbors helping each other when we needed it the most.
Lessons were learned, and Maine stands ready for the next storm. From all of us at Maine's Total Weather, thanks for watching.
The pictures will be permanently emblazoned in our minds. '98 will be remembered as the year Maine saw Mother Nature at her worst.
Now they're just a small part of the broken landscape.
I was stunned by that 10 miles of major line out. I mean, not only were they down, they looked like they'd been just exploded.
Troops from Camp Keys in Augusta are being deployed wherever and whenever they're needed.
The real problem that we've had is that no one else has seen anything quite like this.
Here's the story told in one scene. A little house in Green, one of thousands statewide blacked out because a tree laden with ice cut the lines.
Imagine you're far from home, working 4:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., overwhelmed by damage like you've never seen before.
Oh, it's a disaster.
We'll get through tonight, then we'll be okay.
Yeah, 10-4.
Have you been offered any bribes from people to fix their house?
Oh yeah, plenty of that. When's my power on? Well, $100, I can get it on.
Doing laundry. Don't even know how to use them.
9 days today, yeah, out of power.
Though the Red Cross welcomes any and all volunteers, there's an immense need for anyone with medical training.
What kind of job have you got ahead of you here?
Oh, we don't know. We ain't got that far yet.
Governor King and Central Maine Power Company President David Flanagan.
It's the worst natural disaster in the history of the state of Maine.
We just keep going and going, working 16, 18-hour days.
Are they sparking or are they on fire?
And that's where the tree limb is on that wire.
It's been a crazy day at the CMP call center in Lewiston.
At Donatelli's Market, the lack of power didn't stop the owners or the customers. There is, after all, another form of light.
Yours is clam?
Yes, please.
They don't want the power to come on because they enjoy our cooking.
Now, you might think these guys, after working 5 and 6 straight days of 16-hour shifts, would leave here a little grumpy in the morning. Well, that's not the case, and they say the reason why is the people of Maine, how well they are treating them.